Now, before I get started, I do want to thank each and every one of you who have contributed to the channel so far. We are getting very, very close to 100,000 subscribers. I have a new retrospective coming very, very, very soon. If you're one of my patrons or if you're one of my channel members, you already know who that character is. And of course, I also have merch on my Teespring store, if you can always check that out as well. So let's get into the Transformers news. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys today about is the character art here that has been revealed from Takara Tomy's website. So we get to see like the official control art. Now, the interesting thing about this art in particular is that it's not, how can I put it? It's not the finalized look of what all of the robots are going to look like in the movie. There are going to be some color variations. There are going to be some alterations to some of the robots' detail in certain places. And the toy line itself also is matching this concept art, even if the colors are not. Because a lot of this was designed and developed like a while ago, and when the toys were supposed to come out, they were already in production, so there wasn't much that they can change. And when I get to a particular robot, you're going to see that the design for that robot is different than what we've seen in trailers. And there is some detailing, even you can already see with Optimus Prime, that's different. So let's actually take a look at this. You know, when you see Optimus Prime here, this is like the biggest tell that there are a lot of changes done in production, and what we could see is not what you're necessarily going to get in the finalized film. So if you just take a look, Optimus Prime has blue fists, but he also has a blue, waist there, which is different than what we've seen in trailers. All of the trailers have had him have silver hands and, silver around his ribcage. Personally, I wish it was like red around that, like, in the love handle area, and then, of course, the yellow detailing. So I'm curious as to like the final render in the movie, what we're going to see, how different the colors are going to be, and if maybe this is just kind of shading or just different lighting, because it's telling you right here, like, this is what Optimus Prime looks like. And I think he looks fine. Like, personally speaking, if he looked like this in the movie with the blue and everything, I wouldn't be bothered at all, because it's breaking up some of the color for him to make him look a little bit better. Bumblebee, this is the design that we've seen for a while. This is, obviously before he arrives in Machu Picchu and gets the off-road look. So it's just kind of following up on the Bumblebee movie as to what he looks like. And Mirage is the one that I wanted to bring up for the sheer reason that his face is different. And I don't know if this is a battle mask or what, because here you can see silver on top of his head, but in the trailers you can see his helmet is completely blue, except for like the back like headphone thing that he's got going on, and he has a more friendly looking face. So, and then the robot has a little bit detailing that's different in what you're seeing in the renders. In like I said, in the Super Bowl trailer, we can already see how different it was. And that's why I wanted to bring this up, because I don't mind Mirage at all. I know some people have hated on him. My biggest complaint has been like, hey, his alt mode really doesn't really work for the character. The alt mode is a Porsche, even though it's a street legal Porsche. You typically would see Jazz as that vehicle. But it doesn't bother me the way that it does other fans, So like Mirage, he looks fine. Like he's got his silver and blue. It kind of resembles the character, at least when you look at the friendly face that he has in the trailer. It's his personality that's a little bit different. And it probably has to do with the voice actor that they chose, which is Pete Davidson from SNL. And, so he's kind of like more of a kid-friendly character, but he's got the same abilities. Like, yeah, okay, it's kind of like a cross between Hound and, like if everyone thinks that Hound has those abilities, but Mirage has those abilities too. So it's kind of like a cross between that. And like I said, I'm fine with it. As far as the character is concerned, I think that they're, delivering us like there's a difference between this particular character and the other character that I'm going to get into a little bit later that bugs me. Mirage doesn't really bother me that much. RC, I think she looks great here. Now, this particular render also has a little bit differences from what we've seen in the trailers and in some of the concept art. Just based upon her alt mode, she turns into that motorcycle And here, this particular figure has the headlights on her chest and, you know, where the wheels are. But she looks fine. But the thing is that if you're seeing a lot of some of the art that's out there. In particular, I actually want to bring this up, you know, is the character stand-in. And when you look at RC here, you can see tires on her legs. And I think that maybe her tires kind of like fold down in the movie, even though she can't do so on any figure, in order for her to be able to roll when, like, you see her in the trailer firing on Battle Trap. And also here, you can see it's a blue helmet and it's a more friendly face on Mirage. So it really leads me to believe that, yeah, they're making some changes to the art of the robots. Again, same thing with Optimus. Gray hands, gray, waist, very plain looking in certain spots on Optimus, even though it still has that same iconic look for him. So the changes that we're seeing in the robots, you know, it's making me question some of the design choices and changes and where they're making changes on those robots for the finalized look in the movie. Now, Optimus Primal, finally a proper look at his robot mode. It looks very plain to me. I like the gray around, like, on him a little bit. And I've seen someone actually color in his helmet blue and some of his weapon handles a little bit blue and made his eyes red. In robot mode, that actually looks a lot better in my opinion. But here, I don't mind this look for Optimus Primal from an overall standpoint. You know, I know they're kind of going for Transmetal cross between with Season 1 a little bit. So, I mean, Optimus Primal looks fine to me. Same thing with Cheetor in Cheetah mode. Again, take a look at this Cheetah mode. And then when you see what you know in the trailer, Cheetor looks different. When you see the Studio Series 86 figure, he looks different. So it doesn't have the same feel and look to him that you're seeing out of this concept art. But Scourge here, we've seen differences in the trailer. We've seen differences in the robot mode. And you see here with this particular robot, looks good. I think it looks like a cross between, like, Dreamwave Comics The Fallen, G1 Scourge, and 2001 Robots in Disguise Black Convoy, who was known in the US as Scourge as well. So it's like a cross between those three characters, and I think he looks fine, personally. And Freezer, if you're not familiar with who Freezer is, this is supposed to be Scourge's Battle Master. It turns into his weapon, his blaster, or a blaster for him, and looks a lot like Movie Frenzy. So, kind of cool. Yeah. All right. I mean, it's too much Bayverse for me. Nightbird, I think, looks great. I like the samurai look to her. I love the swords. The helmet design looks fantastic. You can see the car design over her as well. So I think this is a great looking design. I really would like to not only see this design, do well for a lot of fans for the live action films, but at the same time, I would also like to see a much better Nightbird figure be available at mass retail for a G1 styled Nightbird as well. Just hopefully based on the popularity of Rise of the Beasts. And Battle Trap is one character I think looks awesome. I'm okay. You can say whatever you want about me being a G1er or a Beast Wars hardcore fan. Battle Trap never really had a personality outside of him being a Duocon. So him not being a Duocon here doesn't bug me, right? I think he looks awesome. It's really, really cool, using an awesome name for a character. And, we've already seen him a lot in action with this ball and chain weapon that he's got going on. And the helmet design looks awesome. So I think it's great to add this to the movie cast. But here we go into characters that I've seen some interesting feedback from with these characters here that I'm going to talk about. So Stratosphere is an interesting one because we knew that Stratosphere was going to make an appearance in this movie based upon the fact that John DiMaggio is going to be doing the voice for him, which is perfect for his look. He's got like this pilot's helmet, like the mustache on him. And I found it very interesting, the feedback on him. I dig it. I think he looks pretty cool. Kind of looks like live action Jetfire, done with this particular, style jet, which we're going to see, you already seen in the trailer, like the Bumblebee about to jump out of the back of Stratosphere, and the plane that Optimus Prime like rolls out of in Revenge of the Fallen is also supposed to be Stratosphere. They made a figure for him, all that stuff. And the feedback on this version of Stratosphere, people who are like hardcore fans of the live action films, for a character who never actually showed up in the movies, but I guess he showed up in one of the video games, they are literally complaining that he does not look like the 2009 figure or 2010 figure of Stratosphere. It looks different. Do you not hear yourselves? Like, I mean, I've seen the complaints. I don't understand why I can't have like Stratosphere look exactly like he did when in the live action toy line. It's the same complaints I've heard about this guy. And I think this is a great figure. And I've seen people complain about him because he's not one-to-one copy of Transformers Prime Bulkhead. Here are the same complaints about Stratosphere. I think this design looks good, personally. But I digress. This guy here, Transit, is also an interesting case because he's supposed to be a Decepticon. And he turns into a city bus. If you're familiar with New York City has buses that run all throughout the city. It's a mass transit bus. I think in the 90s, I forget it was 75 cents, but now it's like up to $2.75, I think, for a bus ride. I don't know what the prices are for that the MTA charges in New York City, but that's what he transforms into. He transforms into one of those buses, and I think it's cool. His appearance has got an insect-looking face, which a complaint that a lot of fans of Transformers who don't like the Bayverse designs of the Decepticons have made complaints of is that all the Decepticons look like insects. You make the Autobots look one way and make the Decepticons look like bugs. And here it's like right on the nose that he's a Decepticon, and he's not going to survive the movie much more than the New York scenes, at least as far as we know. So that's been from the leaks that we've been told that he's not going to make it out of the movie very far. But this design right here is the one that the older fans like myself have been complaining about. Well, this again is also concept art. And I've said this before, like, I'm not really complaining about the alternate mode in particular. The idea behind a Wheeljack turning into a Volkswagen bus is not that big of a deal. Neither is the overall design of the robot, except for the helmet. And I've said this before, I don't like the glasses. I don't like the mouth on him. I don't like the suspenders. It really is making fun of nerds. It's Urkel. It's Steve Urkel done as a Transformer. And did I do that? It's all of the times that I got bullied and beat up when I was growing up for liking Transformers and not liking sports. I got beat up for that stuff. But this kind of reminds me of, when I think about that design, the suspenders, the glasses, the making fun of nerds, it kind of brings me to that time frame when you're talking about a Transformers character and you're naming it this right here, Wheeljack. Just bothers me. This was an interesting thing that somebody shared with me, was that they had took the design from the Bumblebee movie, took the head of Wheeljack and placed it on top, colored it brown, and I went, if he looked like that, if he had this helmet design, had the ears and everything, I wouldn't have complained. I would have been, oh, cool, Wheeljack. All right. Like, I know some people, like, they're very adamant about vehicle modes. For me, it's does the character resemble the character in look, design, personality, and abilities? And if those things are there and they pass what I like to call the squint test, then it doesn't bug me that much. Mirage does remind me of Mirage. This just doesn't do it for me. Like, it just doesn't look like Wheeljack. And everyone goes, oh, well, just embrace the change, embrace the change. Okay, embrace the change. Embrace the change with Stratosphere. if that's the case. Same fans that are not embracing that change, you know. And you say like, well, okay, like what have you, like I'm trying to say is that there are some things I can understand making changes for, but then there are times when I look at this robot design and I go, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And Wheeljack is one that it bugs me to no end. It really does. And you'll never get me to like it. I'm sorry.
We were on the verge of greatness. We were this close.
This is a set that I'm actually excited for, but we don't have much information out of it yet. What we do know is that this Legacy Evolution War Dawn 2-pack is going to have Ariel and Dion. And if you don't know who they are, I've done a retrospective on Elita 1 explaining who Ariel is. And I did a video on Dion in which, you know, while it's not necessarily official, my theory is that he becomes Ultra Magnus or a component of Ultra Magnus. Well, official sources say he died. But anyway, what we do see from the figures is that they are taking the Transformers Prime Legacy RC figure and they're retooling her into Ariel. And to not tick off the corporate rat, they are naming her Ariel with E and A switched. And for that, it doesn't bother me because it's just a name for the toy. But she comes with the rifle that Elita 1 uses. So you'll be able to, if you didn't like the rifle that came with Elita 1, the retail release of the figure, you can give this rifle to that Elita 1 figure. And Dion didn't have a blaster either, but it's also a reuse of the cup mold. And I'm all right with it. Like it's fine because these are relatively minor characters who end up getting rebuilt, either die or get rebuilt into other characters. And so it makes it worth it for that, you know, perspective, especially if you already got Orion Pax and Alpha Trion. The one thing is that we don't know the release date. From what we've been told is that it arrived at a GameStop and had a no sell date until May 1st. So that's the earliest that we know. So it can't be put out into the shelves until that point. And this is Canadian money. So $69.99 is $50 US. And so it's two deluxes, and deluxes right now are going for $25 in the US. So that's the price of these two figures. I think they're worth it. And also, if you want my honest opinion about Rise of the Beasts, do I think it's going to be a good movie? It has the potential, but the designs of a lot of the robots, the personalities of the robots may be a turnoff for me. I'm hoping the movie's good. I don't know. You know, I can't get my hopes up anymore. Like, you know, The Last Night was terrible. Bumblebee was like this nice olive branch with a lot of the robot designs in the beginning of the movie. I really, really wanted to see like the Transformers that I knew and I loved to be brought to the big screen, you know, since 1984. And I love Beast Wars, and I've loved Beast Wars since the 90s. It is the reason Transformers still exists today. And so seeing those characters brought to the big screen, yeah, we're getting Ron Perlman and Peter Cullen instead of Gary Chalk and Peter Cullen, but I'll say that every single time I talk about Rise of the Beasts. That being said, I want to know what you guys think. Are you excited about Rise of the Beasts? And are you excited about this Legacy Evolution 2-pack? Of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. Check out my other videos as well. I have many more Transformers discussions, retrospectives, and more coming down the pipeline. So stay tuned for that. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.